Yes. Okay. So we're live here at Art Walk. So welcome to Art Walk. This is the Octagon Center for the Arts location, and all of Main Street and Douglas Avenue from Main Street to 5th is blocked off, and it's just getting started here. We have the Ames History Museum has Nicole and Chris Neville's. They have beautiful paintings, and I think Nicole also has some jewelry. And over here we have Jordan Brooks. You can't see him because of the crowd of people in front of him. Jordan is here selling his no self cards, and he's a lovely soul. Check out his video on YouTube. We invite you to go to the 3rd floor of the Octagon and check out our artists up on 3rd. We have several artists up there in our studio space, and they are demonstrating and selling some of their pieces. We have Siri up here, who is quite popular in the Ames area. Hi, Siri. How's it going? That's right. So we got acrylic originals, and we got t-shirts and some hats. All right. So we hope you support Siri. And I'm going to skip over this guy for a second, but then I'll be back in a minute. And we have Kelsey Wilson, who is an illustrator. She's illustrated several books. Here's her coloring book. Oh, I love the llama. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So, and Kelsey teaches classes here at the Octagon and at Ryman and stuff. Yes, and they are in front of the Ames Writers Collective, and the Ames Writers Collective has a creative writing workshop for young people, grades 8 through 12, and so you can come here and get information about that from these guys right here. And Anne's passing out chocolate. Thank you, dear. Oh, I'm doing a thing. But what's your name? What's your last name, Anne? Gilbert. Anne Gilbert, and these are her paintings here. Apparently she likes cats, right? Absolutely. Who doesn't? And we've got the band warming up here. They're very popular. So it's going to get loud. And then, of course, we have Rhonda Scott. And Rhonda's going to be demoing marble paper, looks like. And we're trying to hold on to Rhonda as hard as we can. But she's going to break free. Darn it.
She has to marble.
She also brought some of her jewelry. Rhonda does paper marbling, and she does precious metal clay, and she does bookmaking, and yeah. So, oh, Paul. So there is that. Now, for the main attraction is Rob Wallace. Hi, Rob.
How are you?
Rob is having fun. Rob is our, can I stand here? Is that okay?
Sure.
Cool. So Rob is our featured artist for the month of June. Rob is a wood turner. Rob is a scientist. Rob is a teacher, right?
I hope so, yes. After 32 years in Ames, if I'm not that, I'm doing something wrong.
32 years at Iowa State.
That's right.
All right, teaching botany and
botany, biology, evolution, all the fun stuff.
Evolution too. Cool.
Yep.
I didn't even know that was a thing.
So we've got a chunk of black walnut here.
Oh, it's
and
gorgeous.
You can see some of the sapwood still coming through and bottom part of this. So I'm just about ready to turn this around and hollow out the middle part of the bowl.
Oh, because it's just a big chunk here, right?
Right. So this is right now that we're just spinning it to make the general shape. Then I'll grasp it by this tenon down here, by the jaws of this chuck on this side, turn it around, and then we'll be able to hollow it from the outboard side here.
Sweet. And where'd you get this black walnut from?
This is a piece of black walnut that came from a tree that had to come down along a road out on the west side of Ames that was obtained by members of our Ames Wood Turners Club. We've got a Ames area wood turners meets once a month, and we have meetings and we share wood like this. So this came from somewhere out west, western part of Ames, a couple months ago.
So local wood.
Local
and you
wood.
said sapwood, so you gotta get some science in here.
So this, in walnut, this is more of the typical color of walnut, but on the outer edges of the tree, the younger wood does not have as much color laid down in it. So when you have these lighter bands in here, and there's a band just underneath the bark, that's what we call sapwood, that there's not as much of the chemicals being deposited by the tree in these parts that are lighter in color. And with walnut, you'll see that the chemicals that are in there help with insect resistance. The insects will not eat the dark wood, but they will eat the sapwood. Oh. So it's a benefit to the tree to lay down as much of this chemical as it can, as early as it can, so it has less, increased resistance against insect attack.
Oh my God, I had no idea.
So that's.
And so it used to be you could count the years on it. Can you not do that with
you can do this. We don't have the pith in here. The pith would have been somewhere over in here. This tree probably, we'll just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. I'm saying this tree is probably at least 25 years old.
Wow.
Where this piece of wood came from.
Sweet.
So you can count the rings. It's an annual cycle that we have here in temperate middle part of Iowa, where you have a cold winter and a warm summer. Mm-hmm. The seasonality determines when the wood is made in the springtime versus made in the summer, which is why we get the grain pattern on the wood. That's
what I was looking for. Okay, I'll step back and you can.
So now we're gonna turn this piece around.
Okay.
We'll have to unmount it here and get rid of this little device. And this is the way we hold the bowl in the jaws of this chuck over here, like this, so that we're able to hollow out the outside from the inside from this outer portion here. So for safety reasons, I'm just going to put this back up here. Okay. And do a little bit more shaping and hollowing at this end, and then we'll start cutting out the middle.
All right.
That turns really nicely. It's nice and true, so it's in balance.
Yeah, it's not wobbling.
So I just have to adjust for the cut here.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Right. Okay. Good. Hey, Beth. They don't have masks on. There's some right there. We are requiring masks inside the building tonight. So if you come in to the Octagon during an event, we do require masks. The wood chips are flying right at us. It's fun. Seems to go pretty fast.
It helps when the wood is a little fresh and a little wet.
Yeah.
If dry wood, you take a little bit longer to do it, but you do it pretty much the same way.
Yeah. It seems to be going quite fast. Isn't that cool?
This center piece is starting to get in my way, so I'm going to cut that out now.
Oh, that looks a little dangerous.
Not really.
Oh my God, it's already gone. Look at that.
So now,
Sweet.
now we get, this is doing nothing for us except getting in the way. So now we get rid of this thing.
Okay.
What I'm going to do, change the rest of it here.
Alrighty. Ooh. How often do you have to sharpen your tools?
Very often. Remember, this is the way I'm turning right this. If you would take this edge and put it, say the street is a sharpening stone, or the street is a piece of wood as you cut this, you're holding that wood, and the speed at which this is passing by the cutting edge is about 45 miles an hour.
Oh, yeah.
So think about driving your car down the road and holding this against the road while you're driving 45 miles an hour. You'd have to sharpen pretty frequently.
Oh, yeah, that would really wind it down.
We do this all the time as a sharpen, and a sharp tool is a safe tool, so it resists. It cuts through the wood very efficiently, and I can come in now and take a nice little bite like this, about 1/8 of an inch or so. And clean this up a little bit here. Now what we have to do is check to see how deep I need to go before I start going to the bottom, because we want to make a bowl and not a funnel. So I have to see how far, so I can go in about another 3/4 of an inch or so. So I'm going to come in here like this and set the depth, so I don't have to worry about going through the bottom. So I'm just going to come in and take a bunch of little cuts like this. And what this is doing for me is giving me a reference of where the inside of the bowl bottom is going to have to be. So we'll check it again.
So you're just eyeballing it, basically.
I'm judging how thick the base is going to have to be, so I don't go too deep.
Yeah.
But I can come in maybe another 1/4 of an inch or so. Once I do that, one more of those. And I think that's where the bottom is going to have to stay, at least until it dries. But now that gives me a bottom thickness of just about 3/4 of an inch. I can go just a little bit deeper. But I like the color on this. It's developing pretty nicely.
Yeah.
This is black walnut, but the wood itself has got some streaks of sapwood running through it. So you can see, so you're going to get a lot of contrast in this piece, and that's what catches your eye, particularly when it's been stained or with lacquer finish put on it. So that's going to be about the depth of the bowl. Now all I have to do is make a uniform wall thickness. I may try to shape up on the sides a little bit just to meet this edge, because I didn't know if there was a crack or not without opening that up.
It's looking pretty good.
So I'm going to just smooth this a little bit on the outside here. Get rid of this little step here.
Right here, you can watch. And then, trust me, you want to stand behind the glass so you don't have sawdust blowing in your eyes. That makes a neat sound, doesn't it? All right. That's looking pretty. Looking pretty. All right, now he's going to work on.
So the outside is now shaped the way I want to do it. So now what I have to do is match the thickness. I'm going to make it probably, this bowl is about 6 inches or so in diameter. I'm going to make the wall thickness about 6/10 of an inch or about 5/8 of an inch or so, and make it uniform all the way to the bottom. So I've got to connect that surface with this surface to make it a uniform wall thickness throughout.
So you got to make a whole lot more of this.
I have to make a lot more of that until it's done. Then I will seal the outside of the bowl with some wax, some liquid wax.
Okay.
That slows down the drying so the bowl won't crack as it dries. And then I'll come back in several months, probably 6 to 8 months, and the bowl will be dry enough to finish turn, and I can sand it and put the finish on at that time.
I had no idea you had to wait that long.
Some pieces, some of the bigger pieces, you have to wait about a year.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So it's...
And it's kind of like clay. You know, if it dries too fast, it's going to crack. Yeah.
You just basically what you're trying to do is let the wood lose its water and relieve the stresses as it dries, because wood will not dry in the same direction. It basically contracts more radially than it does tangentially. So it's called radial to tangential shrinkage, and it's almost 2 to 1. So that by shrinking, it sets up stresses in the wood, and that's why it cracks. So if you don't allow the wood to dry slowly, those cracks will develop because the stresses get so much. You can literally hear it. You can be in a room and it'll be like a gunshot. The wood will crack and you can hear it very clearly. And I've over the last 25 years, I've seen it more than once when it's cracked like that. So all we're going to do is start at the rim here and just follow the path with the outer edge of the gouge here, like this edge right here.
All right.
We're going to start in when it's almost 90 degrees. And then I'll rub that bevel on the outside and then allow it to just follow its own path all the way to the bottom of the bowl with the idea of making a continuous curve.
So. Did you say you had some bowls here?
No. Over the years, I've bought.
Oh, you well, good.
I always do. I don't make it.
So Rob is our featured artist of the month because this works right inside the front door and it's all 15% off.
So you can use instruments to measure the wall thickness.
Like calipers or something?
I actually use what I call digital calipers. These are my
digits. I knew it. I knew it was coming.
I can determine where the thickness is. So I can tell you I can need a lot more to be removed in this area right in here. But these are my digital calipers.
All right. That's lovely. So you're a scientist and you're an artist. So how do those two parts of your life work with each other?
Science allows me to understand not just what, but why a lot of this stuff of this medium. I like the medium because it's a natural medium. It's automatically beautiful for some reason for humans. But I also understand how the tree makes the wood at the cellular level, how the colors develop and so on. And the ability to understand that and then be creative about trying to maximize the shape and allow the shape of the pieces that I create to accentuate the natural features of the wood. That's what I find the most exciting, to have the ability to look at the wood, understand the wood, and then choose the shape or choose the method to allow the best beauty of the wood to shine. And over the years, you pick up a few tricks here and there, this is a very easy way to celebrate the natural beauty of wood while still creating something that people value, you know, in terms of aesthetics. So still a little bit thick, but we'll thin it out just a little bit more, and then we'll wax it and move on to the next piece.
All right, and I'll bring out a couple for you to talk about, ones you've already made.
Okay, that works.
I have questions about how you did some of them.
Okay.
You can hang right up here. So he's measuring with his fingers. Yep. A little thinner so you can get it in. He's making a bowl, a black walnut bowl. Yeah. Bob is our featured artist with mustard. Work is like inside the store. And it's 15%. All right. We got some math right inside the door.
Okay, that's looking much better. A little thick right there. We'll take a little bit more out there, then we'll smooth the inside with what we call a scraper.
I like how you centered. It's like you've almost hit the center of the.
That's the plan. If you put the pith side at the bottom of the bowl, the rings are closer together, which means that when you look at through the top, they tend to be accentuated more. If I flip this around, I make it a bigger bowl, but it won't be as pretty. So it's a matter of positioning the bowl in the log, and understanding about how the surfaces of the bowl will interact with the way that the rings are present in the tree.
And is this the trunk part of the tree, or is this a branch? Okay.
Branches, because branches come out laterally, they're subject to gravity differentially. So if you look at a branch, the pith, the center part of the branch, is used almost always off center, which means that there's internal stresses in the wood. So if you use branch wood, as you cut away all of the support, the wood really distorts heavily, and you get a lot of cracking in branch wood.
Really?
So we generally tend to use wood from the trunk of the tree, which is much more stable because it's been growing vertically, so gravity is acting on it uniformly in a vertical branch. You have some trees that are leaners that you can tell if you cut the tree off, if it's been leaning, say, out over a stream or something, and it's at an angle, you can tell that the pith is going to be off center.
Oh,
there's two different kinds of wood in there that we call compression wood and tension wood. And when you cut through those, the difference in forces within the wood is going to crack almost guaranteed.
Really?
So we generally tend not to use wood of leaning trees if possible. We almost always use wood from the trunk.
Making lots of progress.
All right, so that's not bad. What we'll do is we'll smooth the inside now.
Okay. So now you got a different tool.
Now it's a different tool. It's just a flat tool like this, but at the upper edge here, it's got a very sharp corner, and with a small burr that's been raised by the grinder. And we use this rounded part of the tool to smooth the internal contours of the bowl. Take out some of the tool marks that you can see maybe over here that the gouge left.
Okay.
We'll eliminate those and allow the piece to dry then. So we go in at a slight angle. This is the adjustment of the tool rest here is critical. So you'll go in at an angle like this. We'll start on the inside cut. And we're just taking a very, very thin shaving off to remove those tool marks.
So you're getting much thinner
and
cut.
Continuous curve on the inside. We'll take out the tool marks. Little chatter there. because the bowl is flexing as it spins. Just take the tool marks out. And we'll round the bottom inside a little bit here. And all we'll need to do next is just work on the outside edge here. These edges out here are very sharp. So you literally can cut yourself on those. What I generally tend to do so they don't start perpetuating a crack there because of the sharp corner. What I generally tend to do is round the corners off a little bit to allow the drying to take place without those so-called stress risers in the corners. So now it's smooth on that side. We'll do the same thing on this side. So that bowl now is ready to dry. So what we do next is we put a date on it, so we know when we turned it, and that gives me an idea of how long it's been drying. So when eventually what will happen is the bowl, once it's dried, it's going to continue it. It's going to be a little bit oval like this as it dries. So I'll put it back on using that hole to recenter it. I cut this round again because this will become an oval. I'll put this, when it's dry, I'll put that back in the chuck and turn it true again. And then we'll have a finished bowl. We'll sand it and put a lacquer finish on it.
Awesome. And you'll probably cut this chunk off,
This will
right?
be removed, and a little foot will be turned into the bottom of this with a relief on the bottom, so that you'll have one ring instead of the bowl having to sit on a perfectly flat table. The little ring of the foot that I make allows it to sit on a table that might be a little uneven.
Sure.
And it will always lay down squarely against the surface.
Nice. Awesome.
So this is black walnut from Ames, Iowa.
Yay. All right, I'm going to go get, hi, Ray. Wave to the camera. That's Ray Riley. We love Ray. Yay. I'm live streaming. You're on YouTube. Oh. All right. I'm going to go grab one of your pieces, Rob. All right. And again, for events, masks required. Okay. I'm going to have Rob tell us about the naked truth. Okay. Hello. There's masks right in front there.
I really think this is the niftiest thing in the entire world to be able to come and see that.
Okay. Is that a grandchild or a
No,
friend?
you would know Ian Schneider. He's a chemist.
No.
Do you guys have a question? No, you're good? Okay. Let's take, while Rob is talking to Ray, we'll take a little, we've got some sidewalk chalk going on. Hello. No, we're live streaming. Just like encouraging people to go up to third floor and wearing masks because, yeah. But yeah, look at this fun. We got Nicole over there. Rhonda making a mess yet? No? Okay.
I'm trying.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
So you've got your date on you. Now This is the naked truth.
This is the naked truth.
So this is, you got some other stuff going on here. With
So what happened with this piece? This was a burl that was growing on the west side of Ames, Iowa, adjacent to a property that one of our club members owns. And this burl was at least 5 feet in diameter. And it was around for a very long time, probably saw a lot of Ames history. So this piece was just one of hundreds, literally hundreds, that we got out of this one burl. And this would have been the outer portion of the burl, and that there would have been another layer, about a 3/4 of an inch layer of bark that would have been on this piece. So,
and a burl, you're talking a big,
a burl,
not looking.
It's an abnormal growth, and basically a burl, it's not really we don't call it a cancer as much, but it behaves like a cancer because it's not a regulated growth. So in this case, each one of these little points that you see on this piece was a growth point that started growing and putting wood back in a very random pattern like this. So each one of the little, what we call eyes on the inside of this thing arose from a growth point, I don't know, 40, 50 years ago. So by orienting the bowl in the correct piece and cutting the wood away, we can do exactly what I did with the walnut bowl, make a flat bottom on it, hollow it out and accentuate the grain figure, because it's very, you don't see concentric rings in this like you would in a normal tree. This is what we would call anomalous growth. And this is what we find typically in burls that you see growing often on the side of the tree or near the root. And what I do when the wood is still wet and fresh, I do this turning, and instead of leaving the bark on, I literally grab pliers and pull the bark off, so that you expose each of these little tiny points on here, which are the growth points. And that's what adds this visual contrast. You have all of these different growth points. You have the sapwood out here, in which the chemical has not been laid down to darken the wood on the inside. So you have what we call heartwood, sapwood, and then out here would have been the bark. We remove the bark and expose all these natural growing points. So Mother Nature made most of this. I just exposed it.
But didn't you have to like pull on these or do something? Or
when the tree is fresh enough and you grab it the right way and rock it back and forth, you can put enough pressure that it just basically pulls off. Occasionally you'll have to go in with a little dental pick and pull some of the bark out of these things. And then I generally clean it with a solution of alcohol to remove some of the sugary resin that's on the inside of there. So it comes out with a nice light color stain to make sure that the sapwood comes all the way to the outside. If I didn't do that, you would have sort of dark stained, almost a mottled appearance. So I much prefer literally the naked edge is what we call this. Mm-hmm. And that's why this is, the title of the piece is called The Naked Truth.
And how did the little brown, is that just natural?
That's natural browning. That takes place. That's part of that. Elm as a species has a resin that is just below the sap, just below the bark, but above the sap line, and it gets very sticky. So, and the little tips here, the brown tips that you see, that is a natural coloration that's just coming through. But I like the contrast, so I don't bleach it or anything. I could chemically remove that if I wanted, but I try to leave it as natural as possible. So that's a burl from Ames, Iowa, from way out west, on the end of I guess it's down just south of Lincoln Way, down that way somewhere.
When the tree went down, how old do you think it was?
Oh, the tree had to have been at least 80 to 100 years old, and the burl was just so magnificently large. We didn't, the Ames area woodturners, we didn't waste a piece of that. Every scrap was harvested from that tree. It's just such a rare thing that we have right here in town.
That's lovely.
So
that's lovely.
So
oh yes.
Question on that.
Yep.
On the back, I saw this piece before. Is it a laser engraving or
No,
did you write it?
That's all handwritten.
With the wood burning.
That's actually done with an archival ink.
Oh, sure.
That comes out of Japan. So it's an actual signature. And
did you say an elm tree?
Yes.
It's an elm. It's an elm burl. It's not a normal elm.
I didn't know that elms had burls.
Yeah.
There's actually two other pieces I think in there that are
from the same
elm.
Oh.
There's
you got another one
piece in there I know from this tree.
Yeah.
And then there's some other normal elm that's in there as well.
Awesome.
So.
Oh. Got a little spillage there. I'll be right back. Hey, we're gonna go in and get another piece to ask him about. Hello. So we have that. So here's another piece, and this is fun. I got it.
You want me to take a picture of it or just cut it off with a chainsaw?
Yeah, as long as you leave some of the actual normal growth on the inside, that would be fine.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I love working with burls.
Okay,
So
Yeah.
this piece,
I can see that.
You got. I noticed today. I was like, look at the lichen.
well, those are lichens and mosses that I
Yeah.
leave on the tree. That just shows that it's a natural piece of wood. And this is a black walnut piece that the actual tree was probably maybe a foot in diameter. And this would be the orientation of the sap running up and down like this.
Oh,
So
okay.
the bowl is oriented sideways. So here's the bark side. That would have been a normal bark out like this. And this is a beautiful example of heartwood sapwood that has not yet gotten its color. And then the layer of bark on the inside.
Yeah.
This particular tree was harvested in mid-December, which means that the bark, there's the layer, the growth layer, the cambium layer on the inside here, between the bark and the xylem, the inside part of the tree. In December, it's already shut down. If I would have harvested this piece of wood in April, May, or June, when the tree is actively growing, very rarely does the bark stay attached because the cells here are active.
That's why I was wondering, like, how did the bark not fly off when it's spinning on the lathe?
So, well, there's a couple of different things. Whenever you're turning this, you always are turning with the sharp edge cutting into, so you always have a supported cut from both the outside and the inside. You're always cutting in this way. So you're always kind of basically pushing the bark onto the tree. But the secret is harvesting it in a non-growing season, December, January, February, and then cutting your blanks and then turning it while it's still in that inactive condition.
So you've been teaching at Iowa State for over 30 years.
Right.
How long have you been turning wood?
Since 1992, so almost 30 years.
Almost 30 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got into this when my daughter was born because I could have a lathe, and the lathe is a quiet power tool. And when my shop was right below in the basement, my daughter's room was right above, I couldn't go down and use saws and routers and joiners and all those kind of things. They're too noisy. But I could come down at the end of the day and get on the lathe, which is very quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I started doing it. My daughter will be turning 30 in July. So just after my daughter was born, I got back into turning. I learned when I was in 7th grade.
Oh.
You know, I learned how to turn when I was in 7th grade, but I didn't start doing it in earnest until my daughter was born.
That's lovely. That is
So-
lovely. Oh, yeah.
That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I didn't continue.
Oh, awesome.
So that's black walnut.
That's lovely. Do you ever do any art shows, Rob?
I don't have time at the moment to be a vendor at an
'Cause
art
you're-
show, which is why I generally consign most of my work.
Yep.
So the Octagon, I've been doing my Octagon work here for a long time, since about 2008 or 9.
Mm-hmm.
And I also sell pieces of art in Mason City at the McKnight Art Museum, the Cedar Rapids Museum of Art, and a gallery out in Iowa City, which is the Iowa Artisans Gallery.
That's wonderful. Wonderful.
So someday when I retire, I may be able to do the art circuit, but right now it's just I'm happy to.
Yeah, you've also entered pieces in the state fair.
Yes, I've been doing that since 2007.
Yes, and
So-
you've won awards
And I've
there.
won awards at the state fair
Yes.
and other venues as well.
Yes. All right. So you're gonna make another piece
So
here.
we're going to make another piece. We're going to grab another blank and see what I can make out of it.
All right. It's gonna make more sawdust. All right. Yeah, Caroline's and Stomp. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much for wearing a mask indoors. We really appreciate it. Got masks right
Here
here.
you are.
Here I am.
Okay, is Ethan here? Or is he not?
No, he, yeah. Grace, could you go up the second floor and get another box of masks? Sorry about doing the business here. So let's do another spin around and show you everybody that's going on. Art Walk is an extremely popular event in Ames. So again, we have Nicole and Chris Nevels. We are live streaming on the YouTube. Yes, yes. So tell us about you guys.
We are Nicole and Chris Nevels.
Mhm.
Nevels Dynamic Expressions. We are mixed media, Christian visual artists. We do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Today we have some paintings, we have some prints, we have some cards, we have some gift box. We
Oh
also
my gosh.
have jewelry, but that's not out today. We have some work in Octagon for sale.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Oh, look, see? Nice cards. Lovely.
Handmade cards, and we also have cards that are prints of paintings.
Yes,
Different varieties.
exactly. Yeah. So like this one, for instance.
Yes, that would be a print of a painting.
Was that one by you or Chris? That's one of yours?
That's a pattern.
Well, oh, yes, a pastel. Yes. Awesome. And here's one of. Oh, in New Mexico, you said? Oh, lovely.
So we were driving up the road in New Mexico, and you were inspired. Okay.
I love it. Awesome. Follow a plan, but be flexible. Awesome. Yay. Oh, I like that one, Chris. That's good. And Nicole, Ephesians and Psalms. And then we have, oh, look at this. You can buy originals right out of the bin. So we hope you come down and support Nicole and Chris and our artists. And we're at the Ames History Museum. And they have their Black Trailblazers exhibit. And
our exhibit is open inside.
it is. Oh, so you can go inside too and see.
Oh, yeah?
Yes, 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 yes. Nicole and Chris came up from Des Moines for this. Awesome. All right. And then we got Jordan, as I said at the beginning, but we want to go visit. Hello, dear.
I think it's because I'm just not really connected well to service.
Oh. Hi, Jordan.
Hi.
Are you? I am on YouTube Live.
You're on YouTube?
I am YouTube Live.
Hello.
But are you having trouble with your?
I think
with
my
your-
Wi-Fi is just like not loving me at the moment. But
Oh, if you're trying to get Wi-Fi from us,
well, no,
that's
well,
not
I'm trying
gonna.
to use my phone so it's not good. But hello.
All
I
right.
bet you all are gonna venture down here and enjoy.
Yes. And get some
And get
no
some
self cards.
Yes.
And Jordan has some original paintings inside the Octagon shop. Love it, love it. Yep. And okay, I'm too old. What does Austin 316 mean? Do you know what Siri means? What's it mean? Yeah, it's Stone Cold Steve Austin. But
Yeah.
what does the 316 mean?
That's just what he says.
Is it?
Yeah, yeah, that's what he was saying.
I have.
It's not a reference to the Bible.
No.
Yeah, yeah.
Because it'd have to have Mark, John, whatever.
It would be, yeah. It would be.
Yeah.
Isn't that what it is, John? So instead of the Gospel of John, it's the Gospel of Stone Cold
Oh,
Steve
yeah.
Austin, maybe. I like
You
your
know
shirt.
Funko? One of my daughters gave me that.
Oh, that's awesome. Awesome. All right, Rob's getting another good group. And oh, he's got a piece with bark on it. So we'll come back later and see how he does this. And we will post it later. You're doing one of those now.
Try this, another natural lens.
All right. All right. So I am going to stop the live stream and we will continue to take down information or record or take down information. What a dorky thing to say. We will video and come back and we will post how Rob turns that hunk of wood with the bark still on it because I've always wanted to see that. So thank you for watching and let's see here. And I'm going to end the cast. And it will post right away to YouTube. So if you want to watch it again, there you go. Thanks, everyone.